NC State at Duke.
Howdy, Ags. Listen to my podcast about sports, about sports, about sports.
Pop, pop, pop.
On the road, so technical difficulties, whatever. We're going with it though.
There you go.
From the
Where are you?
tailgate, home of Aggie football, coach, the delivery man, C Money. What's up, brother?
What's up, buddy? Where are you?
I am in Nashville, Tennessee for a conference, my friend.
All
At the
right.
I don't know, some corner really nice hotel. It's got like a jungle inside the hotel in the conference center. There's a river, there's like a river walk. It's quite impressive.
Mm.
Quite impressive.
Huh.
Last night we were out at Broadway Street. Man,
Broadway
kicking. You want to talk about
on
now
a Sunday.
on a Sunday.
Well,
That
today's a holiday.
I figured out the whole Nash Vegas thing, man. People are going crazy over there.
They have casinos there?
No.
Wow.
Just bars. Lots of them.
They have strip clubs there?
I don't even know that I saw a strip club.
Oh, I'm sure
Lots
you
and
were
lots of
looking.
bars, lots and lots of people, lots of ladies wearing cowboy hats and boots and shorts and skirts, and live music. Tons and tons of live music.
Nice.
Yeah, pretty good. Corey, today's episode is brought to you by Frida Homes, building Aggie dreams, custom home builders with over 15 years of experience in the Brazos Valley. If you're looking for someone that cares about you and the details you care about, contact Frida Homes. Then visit them on Instagram at frida.homes or give Justin a call, 979-450-4466. When you call, just remember,
Remember,
everyone
everyone
loves
loves
their
their
Frida
Frida
Homes.
homes.
Email us at agstailgate@gmail.com if you got commentary about the show, if you want to talk some shit, if you decide that you want to give some feedback, some positive feedback. I know that doesn't happen very often for us. Uh, or
Love
if
it.
you got any
Love it.
ideas of topics that you want us to cover, or answer a specific question, just let us know. You can also reach us at YouTube on our YouTube page. Subscribe, smash the subscribe button. That's right.
Mash it.
Or smash it or mash it, one of the two. And then
Yeah.
leave us some comments on there. We love it.
Yeah. There's people, they can put in whatever they want to and say, hey, we'd like to hear about this. We don't care. We'll talk about whatever the hell we want to.
We still will talk about whatever
We
the heck we want.
appreciate the comments, but we don't care.
All right, we're gonna get right into it, man. Ags lose to the Alabama Crimson Tide, 26-20 at home at Kyle Field. Look, let me start here. Kyle Field was absolutely rocking, man. Kyle Field was absolutely rocking. The place was electric. The fans did their part. That place was bumping. The team didn't quite follow through on its part of the bargain on this one. Look, huge game. We talked about it before the game, right? Huge game because the team that wins this one comes out of this weekend with in control of the SEC West, right? They're in control of the SEC West. Bama now controls the West. They still have to play Tennessee. They still have to play LSU. They still play Auburn. I would think they're favored in each and every one of those games. I think they will be favored in every one of those games.
And again, who?
Bama.
Oh,
Alabama.
Yeah, Bam. I thought you were talking about A&M. I was like, well,
no. Because we also, I know, we also play Tennessee and LSU, but we already played Auburn.
Where is Bama playing LSU at?
That's a good question. I don't have that answer for you.
It's at Bama. It's at Bama.
But here's the thing.
Bama's next 3 games are at home. They play at Kentucky. Bama plays at Kentucky.
Oh, they play Kentucky as well. We'll talk about Kentucky later in the show. So, I mean, look, they control their destiny. And not only that, I think it's become clear. People thought I was insane when I said earlier, even at the beginning of the season, before the season, Jalen Milroe is the guy for Alabama. Jalen Milroe is going to be the guy that makes things happen for that Alabama offense. And lo and behold, who beat the Aggies on Saturday? Jalen Milroe had a big part of it.
He was
And
impressive.
and not only that, he's getting better from week to week. He's getting better. And I think the way they're implementing that offense, they're doing some things also there. So, they're not going to they're not like LSU that's going to have to score 45 points to win, right? They're
Or just stay competitive.
right. Their defense is pretty good. Their defense is going to hold people back, and that offense is just going to have to do enough to 26, 27 points like they did this past Saturday to continue to win ball games. LSU is not going to go off for 50 like they have the last couple of weeks when they face Alabama. They're just not, and they're not going to stop Alabama either, right? I mean, Milroe's probably going to have 400 yards in that game between rushing and passing by the time it's all said and done. So I guess my point here is that those guys, in spite of the fact that everybody wanted to throw Alabama into the river and say, look, that domination station by Nick Saban is over, that he's on his decline, that he should retire, that is the team to beat in the West this year again.
Oh, I agree. I totally agree. Um, Man, first half, I was pumped. I only watched the first half of the game. I had to go to a birthday party, and I'm trying to watch it on my phone, and all I'm hearing is people in the background going, "Ah, yeah, ah, shit." I can't. I don't know what the hell's going on. So, but the first half, that's all I can really talk about, and I'm
So let's start
still
off.
pissed we lost.
Let's start off with the Aggie defense, right? The Aggie defense, and look, before we get into the details here, before we get into the defense, the details here with the Aggie defense, it was not the defense that lost this game for A&M. Let's be clear about that. It was the offense, the special teams that lost this game for A&M, right? Not the
Yeah,
defense. The defense played well enough to win. Did they give up big plays? Yes. And we're going to get into that. But they made enough plays to give us a chance. And
yeah.
offensively, we did not reciprocate offensively, right? We did not make the plays on offense in order to give ourselves a chance. So let's get into this defense, right? Everybody's been talking about since the game the secondary,
Mm-hmm.
right? Secondary so bad, this and this and that, yada yada yada. Look, we we went into it the last podcast. Fact of the matter is that we are asking our guys in the secondary to be aggressive. We're asking them to be aggressive. So when they give up a big play from time to time, you have to sort of take that with the good. We got 6 sacks in this game. We got 7 sacks last week. We got 7 sacks the week before, right?
According to the stats, we had more than 6.
I'm pretty sure it
I
was
think it
6.
said we had 8. Let
Well,
me check it real quick and make sure.
keep looking. But my point is, you get those sacks because you put pressure.
6, 8 for loss. Tackles for loss is 8.
Yeah. You put pressure on those guys, and you bring some pressure, and then you got your guys out on an island, and not only that, do you have you guys out on an island, but you're on the island, you're asking them to be aggressive. We talked about this last week. You're asking them to jump moves, right? Because they shouldn't be out there very long. So if the pressure doesn't get them, which there was times when we brought some pressure, we didn't get there, then no surprise, we may get beat. That's part of the gamble, my friend. That is part of the gamble. When you know
True.
what I mean? You don't go to the casino and put the money down on the table without having that risk. It is
But
part of it.
what about when the D coordinator calls no pressure? What happens then?
The one that's inexplicable to me for this defense is that first half touchdown, the 52-yard pass to the Hale kid, right? And you sit in there, you bring 3 men on your rush. Milroe's got all day. They run basically a 12-yard hitch and go. I mean, that takes forever. It's not like it was a little 5-yard hitch and go. No, no, no. He goes like 12 yards, hitches it up, then goes. I mean, and then he's wide open, right? And you sit in there, and your linebackers are sitting there covered underneath. You got Damani Richardson as your deep safety, your deep help safety, who's your worst cover guy as a secondary guy, right? And you know what? That's not Damani's fault because they put him in that position. That's a bad decision, right? That's a bad coaching decision. Why do you have your worst cover guys, your one safety valve over the top? And sure enough, when the guy gets beat, Matthews is playing the slot. When he gets beat on that super long double move, for some reason just kind of gives up on it. Richardson's sitting there and he's way late. Well,
Way late. Way late.
how
He
is
was
it that
almost out of the play, it seemed like.
Oh yeah, look, the receiver had all freaking day to adjust whatever he wanted to do with that ball, and it was a well thrown ball.
Oh,
Don't get me wrong, but you know the fact of the matter is that guy was going to score. He's that open. It didn't matter.
right,
And how does that happen in a situation where you've got three guys coming and eight guys supposedly in coverage, right? Eight,
right.
right? So once again, early in the game, he went away from what has gotten us to this point. And not only that, he did it in a long situation. I think it was like a 2nd and 15 when this pass, right? I mean, this is the
That's
type
not
of
our, and he should know that's not our strength. Our
that's
strength
not
is
our strength,
bringing the pressure,
not our strength.
getting the quarterback to get rid of the ball. You know, 2nd and 15, he's gonna have to. He's gonna want to look downfield. If we bring pressure, he's not gonna have time to. And it's proven over and over, time and again. You know,
Look,
like Burton. Burton made some nice catches. He did
nice
it,
catch.
have a couple good grabs. He's a good receiver. But all in all, we bring pressure. We had 6 sacks, 8 tackles for loss. Cooper. The thing I didn't like seeing, Cooper, they had him spying Milrow. Milrow wasn't running. I don't know if he's got a bad leg or something, but he didn't run. You know, he didn't run that much. Not that I
No,
saw. But
well,
Cooper was,
if you watch Milrow in the when he's sitting there, you know, unless it just opens up, like the
yeah, he was looking to pass. I
he's
mean,
gonna
he
sit
was
there
looking
and
downfield,
yeah, he's gonna sit there
and
and
he's
keep his
got a
eyes
gun.
downfield.
He's got an arm.
Oh,
But
there's no question.
Cooper, there's a couple plays that I sit there and watch the first half. I'm like, what's Coop doing? Well, he's spying him. And yes, Coop got 3 sacks. He could have had a lot more because he was being tentative. He's like, uh, go. Right? That's what we told about Coop the whole time. And these linebackers, they've got them thinking too
Go,
much.
go, right?
Yeah, they got them thinking way too much.
And so here's the other thing, right? So throughout the game, there was a few other ones that were big on 3rd and long plays where they went and completed some passes. And you know, we brought 5 on one, we brought 4 on another. You know, so if you bring 5, whatever, he made a good play, 3rd and 9, 3rd and 14. Look, you're gonna give some of those up, but you can't sit there and be passive, right? You gotta
Right.
go. And bringing 4 is not enough, by the way. Bringing 4 is not enough. Bringing 3, that's malpractice. Bringing 4, that's not enough. You should be bringing 5 and 6 every time. You know what I mean? That's
It's a
what this
numbers game,
defense has
right?
been
It's a
doing.
numbers game.
That's what this defense has been doing.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
exactly.
So, so, but let me get back to my original point. The defense didn't lose this game. The
No,
defense didn't lose this
I
game.
agree. I agree. Like
They,
you said, they're going to give up those big plays, and we bring the pressure. Tip your hat to them. Say, hey, you got us that time. But hey, we forced 2 turnovers. We had 6 sacks, 8 tackles for loss. They only ran the ball for Alabama. We're talking about Alabama here. They only ran the ball for 23 yards on 26 carries.
and they
23
said
yards.
if you take away the negative yards, it's like 50 or 66 or something like that. Like it's still nothing. I mean, did your
Yeah,
job.
not Alabama, and that's what we were worried about. Is Alabama's going to try to make this an ugly game? No, Alabama came out slinging.
They
Milrow threw the
couldn't.
ball 33 times for 321 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a pick.
But and here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. Defense comes up huge, huge. Anderson jumps the route. Exactly what
Yep.
they were trying to do. They bring pressure on a 2nd and long. Boom, jumps the freaking route. Bah, interception. We get it on their side of the field, man. Let's go score some points. Hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you
Disappointing.
mean. And that's well, let me know when you're done with the defense. I'm ready to talk offense. I'm pissed.
Let me say this last thing here, and actually a couple of things because I want to recognize some of a couple of players before we go on. I want to recognize one for Alabama because I think Milrose still gets disrespected, and he's better than people give him credit for.
Yeah.
Better, he is today.
Or
He's
you were
going to
bad. You
continue
were
to be.
bashing him after that Texas game. You were bashing him after the Texas game.
No. What I said after the Texas game is that they have to do a better job of putting him in a position to be successful because of the fact that they were taking away his aggressiveness. They were taking away his aggressiveness. And I feel like they've done some of that to a certain extent. They still don't use him in the running game as much as they should, if you ask me. But you know what? They're winning, so whatever.
Yeah.
With regards to a couple of Aggies, you know, there were some guys. There was some guys, and you started it. You
Who
started
played
it.
great.
Coop was absolutely phenomenal, right? That
Yeah,
dude was
he's
all
great.
over the field. His athleticism absolutely showed. I mean, he was running down Mill Road, just incredible, right?
He might be a
And
first round pick next year, next
he
draft.
they need to continue to let him play and be aggressive because the dude has a chance to be an all SEC performer and he's going to get drafted high,
I just
right?
don't understand why. I mean, Russell was a no show this game. I don't get it. He plays great one game, next game he might as well not even showed up. But
Well,
either way, I
no,
mean,
because
I'm not here to.
Russell is a product of their aggressiveness, right? He ends
Yeah,
up he takes advantage of plays and situations where they send it, right? And everything else, right? And I don't know that that was the case on Saturday. And
let
so
me let me throw a stat out to you
I
real quick
wanted
of
to
a
talk
guy
to
that.
another guy that I thought that was really good aside from Cooper, and I thought that was Anderson. I thought Anderson was extremely aggressive in this game. I thought he played a game that we thought we were going to get from him more often early in the season, and we didn't get it early. We've been seeing it lately. I thought his game really has been stepping up, and I thought he had another good one on Saturday. Go ahead, Corey.
What do you think about DeBerry? He had 7 tackles all solo, 2 tackles for loss, 2 passes defended. He had a tough matchup with Burton. Burton's a bigger receiver. I mean, I got to like tip my hat to Burton on that one catch. I was like, oh. But
And that's a question. That's a question I have, right? Like, look, if we like the matchup of Chappelle on Burton because he's bigger, and
yeah,
then the Barry on the other guy because he's not quite as big, why not
yeah,
switch him over? Just follow the guy, right? Look, I thought the Barry did a good job because the dude was there, right? He was in
he
coverage,
was there.
you
Yeah,
know.
and I think DeBerry's better. I think he's underrated when he gets up on the line of scrimmage and gets in the backfield because the guy can hit. The guy, I haven't seen
The
as much of that.
physicality, absolutely.
Yeah,
His
you know,
physicality.
we saw that with Chappelle. Not so much this year. We saw it last year. Remember, we were like, oh, Chappelle's getting up there and getting in the backfield. I haven't seen it as much this year, but maybe you have. I haven't seen that. But I'll tell you, with Fidel Diggs, he has a couple good plays too in that game. I thought Diggs
Yeah,
played well.
Uh, Diggs played well, but we didn't see. You know what we didn't see? We didn't see a lot from sort of the other defensive end type guys, right?
Yeah,
I thought that that Nolan had a pretty darn strong game. He was, visible in that defense and making plays. Jackson is always in the mix, right? But you didn't see a lot from the defensive end type guys. Where was Stewart? Where was Turner? Where was Scylla or Overton? Where were those guys? Right? They sort of got lost in
right.
the shuffle. They sort of got lost in the shuffle on Saturday. Not a lot coming from there. We saw them bringing more on the blitzes from the corner, from the nickels, from guys like that were coming. Anderson came a few. They brought Anderson a few times. They brought the corner sometimes. So they were doing some different things. But then what ends up happening? You drop those guys off into coverage and doing different things like that. Well, why not just bring them? The hell with it. They ain't covering anybody anyway. You know what I'm
No,
saying? Just
no, they're just covering grass.
just send them. So but I I can't once again, they held this team to 150 yards rushing, right? Like you can't get you can't get upset with the front. You can't get mad at the front.
No, no,
And and so defensively, I thought these guys played the game that they exactly should have, other than maybe one or two plays where they gave up a big one, right? And I mean, it's Alabama, dude. It's Alabama. They're gonna make a play, you know.
Mm, I
It's
hear you.
Alabama. You know,
That's what you got to say. You got to make the play. That's when we win those games is when we make the plays against them. Two times we beat them, we made the plays. We didn't make them.
look, yeah,
Who was your
Hey,
defensive
look,
player?
Burton made some big time play. I mean, you know, he has been non-existent for them most 2 years he's been there, right? The 2 seasons, and
Yeah.
his physicality and everything else came out. I thought he made some big plays, and then Milrow, of course. I give them the credit on that. This defense, I thought, played well enough to win.
Who was your defensive player of the game?
Super.
Yeah, me too. Who was not your defensive player of the game? What let you down?
Uh, man, you know, I love this kid. He's a great Aggie, man. He's been here forever. The dude is a worker. He always has been. You know, he's played every year since he was a freshman. But Damani, right? I mean, Damani sort of has gotten lost in the shuffle. He doesn't. You know, but they're
He
playing him
can't
out
do
of
coverage. He's not good at coverage. Why? I don't understand. Just bring
constantly
him.
out of
Bring
position. Yeah,
pressure.
they're playing him out of position, right? I mean, what's he doing?
Yeah.
Why is he playing the deep safety, right? I mean, I don't. You know, to me, that's a defensive coaching issue, right? More than anything else, they're putting him in a position where he's not going to be successful there. Bring him in the box, man. You know what? You want to play him almost as a linebacker. Let that dude, take care of business inside, and create plays down there. That's the place where he's made more plays anyway. That's where he's been more successful throughout his time at A&M. I just, he
I'll
disappeared
tell you.
when he was.
I'll tell you what. Birkin, he did a good job for most of the game, but when he does that 3-man front and no pressure and sits back in coverage, it drives me freaking insane. So he's my guy that let me down. He'd done a good job the previous games bringing pressure, but he falls in love with that 3-man front and coverage sometimes. And I just don't get it. We've been talking about it. It drives me effing insane.
And especially with this team, because I think that this team is built for pressure, right? And so
Yeah.
the strength of this team, the strength of these guys, the guys that he has on the field is to come, to be aggressive, to go. So I don't, I don't understand why he feels the need to sort of do that. You know, if you're gonna do it, maybe you do it in a situation where, it's like third down and or six from the 6, 7, 8 yard line in there where there's not a lot of space, right? And so you've got a lot of guys in the mix, but in the middle of the field or even backed up, like that doesn't work for us. It doesn't. It just doesn't.
Leo, I'm going to ask you something. Which team wins this game? The team that has 2 turnovers or one? The team that has 14 penalties for 99 yards or the team that has 4 penalties for 20 yards?
Look, if you look at the stats, there's 100%. You look at the stats, the Aggies won this game, but games aren't won in the stat column, right? They're not.
I'm throwing them away. I'm not looking at them anymore. I'm done with stats.
Let's talk about this offense because this was on Saturday. This was the issue. Here's the problem. Here's your
Yeah.
problem. And you know what? It's a disappointing situation because we said last year. Problem is this damn offense. Damn offense scoring 22 points a game. Yeah, that's a problem. And we've not only that, this offense is loaded with talent. There's nobody in the country that wouldn't trade their guys for our guys at the skill position. I'm just telling you. Nobody. And the fact that we can't do anything with it to me is extremely frustrating. This offense lost this game. Look, we get in very first drive, right? Go down the field a little bit, make some plays, looking all right. Third and one. And we get in, and we're in the shotgun, back behind them, fake, or no, they hand it off and get stuffed. But it's third and one, man. What have we done earlier in the season on third and one that has worked so well?
We
Two
bringing Crown
backs,
over in or what?
yeah, two
Yeah.
backs,
Lead
tight
back.
end, get under center, power football. It's worked for us all year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All year.
I hear
You
you.
know?
It looks like our offense in the first half, I guess they're scripting plays, like they have a plan. But what's killing me is the second half. The last couple games in the second half, we come out flat. I mean, the very first play, I think it was of the Arkansas game, we threw a pick six
Yeah.
right out of the gate, right out of the gate.
Mhm. Look,
Offense looked like
but
crap, and we were worried about that happening against Alabama. We're like, man, we're worried
100%.
about this offense.
But here's the thing. I mean, and they have looked better in most situations in the first half, for sure. You know, to me, this is a philosophical thing, right? From the get-go, right? Very first series. And so you got it 3rd and 1, you don't get it. You run the zone scheme, right? Which is not a power running scheme, right? There's potential for issues with penetration. Like, get down in there, do it. And then on 4th and 1, what do? You put them in the gun. Then you play like slow play action, boot around, and he's under pressure. You're trying to hit the guy in the flat. The second, not the first tight end go through the flat who goes out and up, but the second tight end coming into, and you can't get the ball off. Basically, I mean, he throws it, but it's a throwaway, man. Like, what are we doing here? It is
Why,
third
why
and
don't they
one,
run that Philadelphia play? Why can't they run that Philadelphia play? You got 3rd and 1. Why can't you run that twice and get a freaking yard? You know what
third
I'm
and
talking
one,
about? Like,
4th and 1, 3rd and 1, 4th and 1. Yeah, you
right,
make
just
the
pushing,
tush push, the tush push.
push. That's it.
Look, whatever, dude. Just get downhill and enforce your will, man. This ain't this. Don't be cute. 3rd and 1,
No,
4th and 1. But here's the worst part about it, and it makes it even worse. So that's what happens in the first quarter.
yeah.
When they get there in the second half, and they've got the ball on the Alabama side of the freaking field, and they get to 4th and 1, they decide to punt. He allowed the effect of his decision in the first half to change his decision in the second half. Like, if you're
Whose
gonna
call
do
was
it,
that? You think it was Jimbo's or is that whose call?
100% that's Jimbo's call. If Bobby Petrino for 1 second said, "Oh, let's punt it," they should fire him. They should fire him today. Look,
I thought
there's not an
Petrino would be
offensive
better at making
coordinator.
adjustments, though. He's not making adjustments like I want to see him.
Yeah, there's not an offensive coordinator on the planet that would say, "Let's punt that." There's not. Period. Except for freaking Jimbo Fisher, and it's because of the fact that they failed the first half. But you don't change your philosophy because of the outcome. You come in with a plan. You keep it that you better execute it. Let's keep it going. Don't get scared. Scared
Yeah,
money don't make money. That's what they say, right?
there you go.
Look, I think those 4th down plays are a big deal. But then you go look at each and every one of the red zone opportunities, right? When they were in tight, inside the 20, and they've had this problem all year long, settling for freaking field goals. And what happened to one of those field goals, by the way? Because our kicker hasn't been extremely reliable. They miss. They get it blocked, right? There's 3 points. 3 points
Right.
in a close game. I'm just saying. All in all, all in all, that's been a problem for this offense all year. What is going on in the red zone? Why can't we get plays that help our players out inside the red zone when things are tight? Everybody else finds ways to get the ball in the end zone. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And yet we just can't do it, man. It's like,
Mm.
I don't understand it.
I don't know. It's
I don't
frustrating.
understand it.
Very, very frustrating. We
But
have all this talent. Where does it start though? What's the problem? We know where the problem's at. It's your O line.
but it's not just that, and we're going to talk about the O line here in just a second, because the O line was pretty bad, pretty damn horrible. But here's
Well,
the other
what
thing.
were you expecting coming in? What were you expecting coming in?
Sure. Look, here's the other thing. When you get there in all that condensed area, things like motions and shifting and misdirection and everything else allows you to create just a little bit of seams in different
Did we
places.
run any of that at all?
None. No
That's what I'm saying.
misdirection.
We did
No,
that against Arkansas. Why didn't we do it
like,
against Alabama?
it just makes no sense to me. I mean, when you sit in there and it's the hardest spot of the field to get traction, right? Like, Athletes use the number of athletes, right? Make people think. Look, Evan Stewart coming across, maybe getting a fake while you're going the other way with something on a screen or whatever. Like, use the weapons, man. Because all you need is just a little seam of stuff. Now, mind you, early in that game, Max Johnson had a nice wide open in the freaking end zone and just airmailed that thing, right?
I was going to ask you if Connor plays, do we win that game or not?
Man, it's hard for me to criticize Max. I mean, I love the kid. I think he's obviously a guy that's dedicated to the team and all that. But yes, Connor wins this game
I think so too.
because under pressure, the dude makes good decisions. And you go watch the game again, because here's the deal. You will see guys wide open and Max looking the other way or patting the ball or holding. You know what I mean? Which tells
Yeah,
me that as a coaching staff, they need to do something to simplify for him. Help him see it before the snap, because I don't know how many times I watched him snap the ball. He's on one side that he obviously chose before the play, right? And on the other side, guys are wide open and running free, right? Like, so what did you see? What did you see, and what did you coach him to look at to tell him that that's the way he should have gone? Because it's wrong, right?
I know. No, I know. I'll
But
tell you who's starting to surprise me a little bit is Jake Johnson. He's getting a little bit more reliable. The more I watch him, his hands are getting better. Uh, his routes are decent, and his Max is looking for him.
Max is looking for him, maybe too much, because I think he was throwing to him when he threw that interception. But no, I mean, you're absolutely right. The big touchdown also, yeah, that was to Jake. Big,
Yeah,
he is making some very nice catches, by the way. Some
yeah.
very nice catches. I did think that, look, you go look at what some of those guys did. Moose, when they threw him the ball, I thought had two big plays. And like, why isn't he involved more?
All he
Who
had was two
knows?
catches.
Because all he does is make big plays, and yet we can't get him involved more, right?
I don't get it.
Evan made the big play on the sideline, a nice,
Exactly.
and there's
It's
plenty of
all
guys
first
like that.
half. It's all first half too.
Where was that later, right? And all of a sudden they more pressure and Max, the offensive line just like, did we get any max protection? Max protection for Max? No,
I don't
no,
know.
didn't see it. Didn't see. Did you see any screens? No, didn't see any screens. How about a draw in there somewhere? Nope, none of that. I mean, no motions, no misdirection. We talked about that. I mean, the fact of the matter is they did nothing to help the offensive line. They did nothing to help the quarterback get the ball out. They didn't do anything that helped themselves try to put points on the board and score while in the freaking red zone at times, right?
Mm. Yep.
So, and who's that on, Corey? Who's that on?
Well, it's got to be on the coaching, right?
It's got to be, right?
Well, yeah. The coaches didn't execute.
And here's and this look, here's my last on this offense. That offensive line continues to be absolutely horrible. It was horrible. Look, and it freaking drives me insane. Go freaking listen to the last 4 weeks of damn Texags or whatever, and how they all like, oh no, this offensive line's been so much better. They're great. They're doing this, and this is why this offense, blah blah blah. No, they have not been. We've talked about it over and over again on this podcast. Like, half the time you watch Foster and he's sitting there like looking around, like, what are you not blocking a damn soul? That
Yep.
Leighton Robinson, in the 2 years that he's been coached by Adazio, has gotten from being a potential first round pick to a guy that's going to go undrafted and may not even pick up a job. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Look, Adazio has done such a poor job with this group of players that they've literally thrown away father. He doesn't even get him on the field anymore because and just instead plays a freshman, Basantis. And nothing against the freshman, but then you complain about why are we young again? Well, because the junior, who by the way was an all everything as a freshman, freaking offensive lineman starting as a freshman, that kid you've put on the bench
Hmm.
because you can't coach him to become a better player, and now it's his fault.
It's a shame.
I don't know. I don't know what Adazio's telling him, what he's doing with him. Whatever it is, it ain't good. Every time I watch him practice, it wasn't good. The guy has, doesn't fact. It's like they don't work on footwork at all. They don't work on freaking stuff like where their eyes are. Because if you watch Foster, like a guy crosses his face here, he'll go and just follow him and chase him. He's gonna go chase him. And what's gonna happen, Corey? The moment he turns his head, what do you bet happens?
Sure, somebody, a linebacker, somebody comes free and
Untouched, right behind him. You
yeah,
know what I mean? But you know what? It's not a Foster problem because it happens to Lady, it happens to Foster, it happens to Nabu, right? It happens to all, which tells you it's a coaching freaking problem, right? Somebody's telling them,
what are they telling them to chase? I
man.
don't get it. I don't get
We
it.
always look
I don't get it.
when I was a little measly offensive line coach in high school.
Yeah,
We always worked it right. Like he goes away, you better like you may be able to give this guy a hand and help him out over here, but you better keep your eyes over here because there's something else coming. They don't just go away for nothing. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And it's a feel, right? You work with the guy next to you now, boom, you work this way, you can move your feet until shoulder to shoulder, pass them off, and your eyes are over here ready for the next thing. That's not difficult. That's not difficult. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know how I get with offensive line play, man.
I know.
You know how I get with
Who'd you like player of the game? Anybody?
I mean, it's a nice. It's always a nice because an nice is a beast. Love that
Yeah,
dude.
he played a good game. Le'Veon, I thought Moss had a decent game running the ball, but I'll go nice too.
It's a shame. It is a shame that we lost Connor because I think Connor made that big of a difference for this offense because of the fact that he deals with pressure so much better than most quarterbacks, not just Max. This is not a hit on Max. He deals
Yeah,
with pressure better than most quarterbacks. Let's go around
he
college
does.
football, man. Let's go around
Let's
college
do it.
football. A lot of football this past weekend. I'm going to
Yep,
start with Georgia because Georgia, for all of a sudden, comes in and absolutely shows up this game.
badass.
They whooped that ass for Kentucky. And
Ooh, beat it.
I don't know if they were just hanging out in the prior weeks, when Auburn came to town, they didn't really care. They're like, we could beat Auburn, not worried about it, yada, yada, yada. But they were ready. Kentucky showed up, they were ready, and they showed why they are still one of the top teams in the country.
Ooh, I couldn't believe that ass whooping they put on Kentucky. After Kentucky just put that ass whooping on Florida the week before, son. What about Oklahoma, Texas? You got anything on that
Did I call it? That's my question.
one? You did. You did.
No, you know
That was a
what?
great game. That was a good game.
I thought it was a great game. Absolutely great game. My guy David Coffin's a huge OU guy, man.
All
He's
right.
a huge OU guy, man. He was at the game on Saturday at the fairgrounds and all that stuff, man. And season ticket holder for OU, the whole shebang, right? And you know, he said, the fact is that kid, the quarterback, Dylan Gabriel, like just what a tough kid, like playmaker, man. Just
He
unbelievable
was.
the things he did in that game. The plays that he made. They didn't have a running game, so it was basically all on their shoulders to make plays in the throwing game. And he was the only real running threat in that game, right? Has scored a couple of times on the ground himself.
This was an old school Big 12 game right here. Not much defense. Both teams going up and down the field, points being scored. There was, they had what, a block hunt for a touchdown. They had a little bit of everything. It was a fun game to watch.
It was.
That,
I will say
that
this.
Pat McAfee drives me freaking insane. That guy won't shut the hell up.
I'll say this too. I think Quinn Ewers is maybe the most overrated quarterback in the entire country. Like people love him. They talk about him being a first round pick. They've got tons of talent around him, and he just consistently underperforms. He's just so inconsistent. So inconsistent.
Well, he's
Oh,
consistently inconsistent, so he's
yeah,
consistent.
good point. How about the Miami loss? I want to stop hearing. I want to stop hearing everybody say, "Well, we lost to Miami. Well, Miami's really good, so maybe whatever." Miami just lost to Georgia Tech and Haynes freaking King, by the way.
Hey, Haynes King.
Haynes
Haynes
King.
King. You give him a chance.
Did you see how they lost
Hook
that
you
game?
up.
Did you see how they lost that game?
I heard, I didn't see it. I heard that they were supposed to take a knee and they ran the ball and the guy fumbled. Georgia Tech got the ball, went 88 yards or some shit.
Yeah, absolutely ridiculous. Like, but Mario Cristobal, I've said it before, I'll say it again. He's not a great coach. The hell with it. He's going
All
to
right,
continue to make mistakes. How about
real
Louisville?
quick.
How about
Yeah, I was gonna
Louisville?
say, real quick, tell me if these teams are real or not. Is Louisville for real?
Man, the now I don't know. The more I watch Notre Dame, the less impressed I have been lately. I mean, but they've been playing. But then again, they're playing good teams. They should have
Notre
lost
Dame's
it.
played a tough ass schedule. I mean, look
They
at who
have.
they played.
They have.
Back to back to back Ohio State, Duke, Louisville. I thought Louisville was the worst of the three teams they played, but hey, you catch your teams at the right time.
Hey,
Michigan. Is
look.
Michigan for real?
Yes, Michigan is for real, and we knew that. I mean, I told you they were my pick to win it all this year. I may have changed that pick to Oregon at some point, but right now it's still Michigan.
What about North Carolina?
Man, I'm impressed. I like it. I Number one, the NCAA is freaking retarded. It's a joke that kid that wide receiver hasn't been playing all season. The
Yep.
NCAA once again proves the fact that they are just spineless and garbage once again.
Yep. What about
That team's going to
one?
get better because that dude is a ball player. That wide receiver is a ball player. They're going to continue to get better. They got a tough schedule coming up too, though.
They do. What about Ohio State? They for real?
Man, I was watching that game, and the first half, Maryland looked like the better team. They
Yeah, I
actually
thought
looked
so
like the
too.
better team.
I thought
And
so too.
I think in the second half, they just said the heck with it. We're just going to throw it to our best player, and Ohio State showed out in the second half. That's the best I've seen them look all year long.
The most fun team to watch this year that I've watched is the LSU Tigers because there's absolutely no defense, nothing but offense, 49 points, and they give up 39 this week against Missouri.
Another entertaining game, right? I mean, that was back and forth.
Back and forth. The pick six in the game. Game before that, they played Ole Miss. They scored 49 points and lost 55 to 49. Game before
Uh,
that, they played Arkansas 34 to 31.
Look, they're going to continue to do that, right? I mean, because that team's offense is pretty good. Those two wide receivers that they have are exceptional. And Daniels seems like gets better and better as the game goes along. He makes plays with his legs, at the right times. He does all those things. I'll tell you, they won't be able to score that many points against a team like Alabama. Alabama's not going to allow that. The Aggie defense is gonna hold them back some. I mean, eventually they're going to have to stop somebody if they're going to continue to win games. They will have to make plays defensively to beat Alabama, to beat A&M.
I got you. Couple more teams I want to ask you about, then we'll get going. USC for real?
No, not even close. Three
Okay.
overtimes to beat Arizona. Look, that team just consistently underperforms on the defensive side. I don't think they're going to make it out of the Pac-12. I mean, once they get on the field with the real teams in the Pac-12, Oregon State, Washington, and Oregon, they're going to lose already.
Gotcha. What about Florida State?
They
Beat
look
the
good
hell out
again.
of Virginia Tech. Beat Virginia Tech 39 to 17.
But Virginia Tech is one of the worst teams in the country, so it's not that exactly, that impressive.
They're favored this week against Wake Forest for some reason. I don't understand that. Weird,
Hey,
weird,
UCLA's
weird.
defense shows up. UCLA's defense shows up, absolutely shuts down Cam Ward and the Washington State team, right?
Dude, I don't know if
Washington,
you remember me talking to you on the phone about that game. I said, hey, UCLA looks like the better team.
yeah,
They have a guy number 15 for UCLA. He's all over the field. He's like a defensive end, outside linebacker hybrid type, all over the place. They could not stop him. They only gave up 17 points to Washington State, and that's
that's impressive. Look,
yeah,
that
Washington State.
actually, I'm a lot more impressed with that UCLA squad after that game. We saw them earlier in the year. They lost to Utah, right? And
Yep.
they just looked inept, but defensively, I didn't know. I thought it was Utah's offense with the backup quarterback that just kind of made them look better defensively. I thought this week you could tell. I mean, that's a team that's got some talent defensively. You brought up one guy there. I want to bring up another guy, and that's number 3, the wide receiver from Missouri,
Missouri. He's good.
Burden. That
Yeah,
dude is maybe the best wide receiver in the country right now. He's not even draft
yeah.
eligible. He's a sophomore. Next year, he's a number one pick type guy. That dude is a dude. Dude.
Hey, Missouri's at Kentucky this week. You going Missouri?
We're I gotta think about that one. I got some questions from the tailgate, Corey. I got some questions from the tailgate. Carter's Pub and Grill. Great place for game day. Food and drinks are great, but the people are better. Question number one. Are your expectations the rest of the way for the Aggies?
Man, it makes me nervous, these road games. I think we're a better all around team than Tennessee, Ole Miss, LSU. But if our offense is going to continue to sputter, our defense can only do so much. These are good offenses that we're getting ready to go up against. Tennessee, I'm not so sure what they are on offense. I personally think we should win this game, but it's in Tennessee, so that kind of Ole
Yeah.
Miss. I watched them play, and you know what's coming at you. You know they're going to give up points. LSU, I've watched them play, and geez, that defense is. They don't want to tackle anybody. They don't want to get hurt. I don't know what the deal is with LSU. I don't get it. But
Listen,
South Carolina,
they don't want to
if
tackle.
you, I mean, if you ask me, if we line these teams up on neutral fields, if it was like in Dallas, you think we should beat them all. If we play on their home field, like it is this weekend, Tennessee's favored by 3.5. I would almost lean Tennessee right now after seeing the Aggies and that offensive line not doing a damn thing.
There's two things, right? There's two things, and I'm gonna give you this right here. One is we have been a worse team on the road, no question about it, right?
I don't get it.
And so the road games are that you gotta we're gonna have to prove it. Two, the second piece is that if we face a team that has even, I mean, an okay defense, I think they're going to start giving us problems, especially if the defense is a pressure type defense. Now then the question becomes, any of these teams have great defenses? I'm not sure that any of them do. Tennessee doesn't scare me defensively. South Carolina doesn't scare me defensively. Ole Miss definitely doesn't scare. LSU we've talked about, right? Mississippi State might be the best defense out of the bunch, and that's saying something. And
That's what I'm saying.
and so, but you're right. I mean, with the offense the way it's playing, and specifically the offensive line the way it's playing, I can't see that these guys ain't gonna say, well, you know what, the hell with it. Let's just bring some folks, right? Let's start. Let's just create some chaos around here, right?
Yeah, our
Because
offensive line gets unnerved any kind of pressure you give them, any kind of little package, done. And Petrino, I thought he got it. I thought Jimbo, they figured it out, but they can't figure shit out about how to max protect or how to move people's eyes, how to get things in motion, just like you talked about. It's freaking
and
drives
LSU's
me nuts.
defense ain't playing, right? They're not playing, but I'm gonna tell you, you're gonna have to score points against LSU. You're gonna have to because the offense will score some points. They may not score
Yeah.
50 like against the Aggies. They may not score 50 like they have been, but they're gonna score some points. They're gonna be around 30 or more, right? I mean, so you're
Oh
gonna have to
yeah.
do something. You're gonna have to do
Yeah.
something. And Ole Miss is the same type of situation, right? Those guys are
Yeah.
likely to score at least 28, right? 30 in that range. Ole Miss is not going to sit there and just get steaming. Alabama did it to them, but I don't see
You
it.
said something. You said something earlier about LSU not scoring points against Alabama. I bet they do. I bet they do. I bet they get at least 30 against Bama. That LSU team, man, it's crazy the way they do Jalen Daniels.
I'm saying it won't be 40. I'm saying it won't be 45, 40, 50 like they have been the last couple of weeks. I'm saying a game against Alabama, that's going to be a 32 to something game, right? A 30 or low 30s is where I'm going to go with, right? And Alabama's going to be able to score on LSU. You know why? Because LSU hasn't stopped anybody.
Yeah.
So is this team a 10-win team? Is it a
A
8-win
10 win
team?
team needs a 10-win team needs to win out.
Yeah. So what do you, I mean, that's what I'm asking.
Well, let's see. Tennessee. We're not favored. That should tell you something.
All right. So is it an 8-win team? Is an 8-win team good enough?
Good enough to keep Jimbo's job?
Yeah, sure.
Nah.
Shouldn't be.
Yeah,
All right. Question number two. Petrino still getting all the love? Is Petrino still getting the love?
not from me. Not right now. Not happy. I like the offense better than last year, but like I said, I mean, show me a full game. He's not. He had last 3 games, even Auburn. I didn't see a full game. I want to see a complete game. I want to see him call a game. The offense moves the ball the entire game. Show some flow. Show some consistency, or actually be a little bit inconsistent and mix it up. Show me something different. I keep seeing the same shit.
And I hate to toot my own horn or pat myself on the back, but I'm going to do it because that's what I do.
Yep.
Uh, Prior to the season, when we talked about the hire, I said, look, 100% this dude is an improvement over Jimbo Fisher. 100%. There's no question. But Jimbo Fisher was the worst offensive coordinator in the country last year. So therefore, that's not saying like that's not a big hurdle. But we
Yeah.
talked about the fact that you go watch him over the years. He is a one-on-one matchup guy. He doesn't do a ton of misdirection motions, things to get people wide open and trickery. That's not his thing. So this idea that all of a sudden this offense is going to go into this new age, more advanced offense with all this trickeration and different things that help offenses get people open, that wasn't going to happen. It was never going to happen, right? That's not Bobby Petrino. And I'm sorry for all those folks that thought that was Bobby Petrino. Because they were fed that story by freaking people over at Texas that this guy's one of the best offensive play callers in the country. Well, the fact is that he's not. He hasn't been for a long time. But don't get me wrong, he's still better than Jimbo.
Didn't take much, does it? Well,
Here's the Aggies.
there you go.
AP, C Money, signing out from the tailgate.